Hey, internet friends, cousins, and scoundrels. Welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. Pull up a chair, honey, and let's have a chat. And since the algorithm really likes it when you interact with the content, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe since you're here. Now I ain't gonna hold you. Let's get right into this. Before we get started, a huge shout out to those who support the channel. Thank you so much. I get money I got. Want to support the channel too? Cash App, $, BetUKnowNow. I have been thinking about the situation regarding Mauricescott and this whole mess about suing the content creators. And it just doesn't sit right with me. In my opinion, this is all being done because the Scotts 2.0 needed a storyline. And shit, they needed one fast. And again, this is just my opinion. If we're going to keep it a buck, Kimmy and Maurice really have not had a storyline since season 1. And of course, their storyline at that time was their wedding. And that was sufficient because it was the reality at that time. The wedding covered quite a few scenes. We saw the bridal shower, the bachelor party, the rehearsal dinner, the wedding itself, and the reception. That storyline in season 1 carried them through the entire season. And people initially liked Kimmy and Maurice in season 1. You know, Kimmy was considered the voice of reason because she appeared to be fair and balanced. Now, Kimmy did change over time, in my opinion, or rather, she let more of her true personality show. And people have reassessed her to be a male-identified pick-me that would gladly look the fool and play the fool for a man's benefit. But hell, that's another video. Now, season 1, Maurice was much like he is today. Childlike, unassuming, and forgettable. And he seemed to want to be agreeable to everyone. He liked to play, the good guy. So he wanted to appear to be different or set himself apart from Marceau and Martel because they were suspected cheaters. And sidebar, isn't it funny that he didn't want to be looked at as being a cheater, but was perfectly okay with Kimmy being called a side chick every other episode by his brother Marceau and Martel and his ex-wife Kiowa, and eventually even Tiffany joined the cast and called her one too. And he never said a word in Kimmy's defense. He just let her windmill out there alone. How can she be a side chick and you not be a cheater? How does that work? Isn't it weird that he didn't protect her reputation alongside his own? Anyway, all in all, they were looked at as the laid-back couple. They were newlyweds, so they didn't have the relationship drama and scandal that the other couples were facing. And that was fine because the wedding was their storyline. Now, as far as seasons 2 through 4 are concerned, Mel and Martel dominated the show. They had the biggest storyline out of the group, and the fans of the show really followed their storyline closely. And even though Marceau and Tisha's main storyline was building the Black Lounge, Marceau was also rumored to be in those Huntsville streets having affairs as well, and that had people talking, so that kept them relevant. Now, in the midst of these two couples' infidelity rumors, Kimmy and Maurice were able to remain in the background. They had no storyline. They were just kind of there. And they didn't have any independent projects that they were working on separately from the Comeback Group initiative, so they didn't get on anybody's radar. In essence, you have this show that has 6 main cast members, but it's only being carried by 4. Mel, Martel, Tisha, and Marceau. Kimmy and Maurice were skating. They were collecting a known check for doing nothing while sitting back and watching what everyone else was going through as entertainment. Now, I didn't say they didn't have skeletons in their closets or shit that they could talk about, because word on the street is that they most certainly did and do. But they didn't have to discuss their real lives because the show was dominated by Mel and Martel's storyline, with Tisha and Marceau closing up the rear. Basically, Kimmy and Maurice got free money. Shit, they made out like bandits. And if the truth be told, they may own a refund because they ain't did shit for 6 of the 7 seasons they've been on the screen. It wasn't until season 5 when everything begins to quiet down with Mel and Martel enough to really notice, that Kimmy and Maurice had no storyline. And this is when we begin to see Maurice badgering Kimmy for sex. Now, they're supposed to go on this couples retreat, and in exchange for his attendance, he tells her that she's required to have sex with him every day. She doesn't really want to do it, but she really wants him to go, so she reluctantly agrees to his request. Now, because she agrees so easily, he tells her that that is not enough for him, and he ups the ante to 2 times a day while on the retreat. And honestly, the conversation itself is cringe and exhausting to watch, because why do you need to negotiate terms like this to accompany your wife on a trip? If you want sex that bad, why aren't you doing things to make her want you back? This shit is weird. And it's giving Kimmy don't like having sex with you, sir. So you have to make her agree on camera to have bedroom activities with you. Now, eventually we learn that Kimmy has breast cancer, and that seems like that was going to be their storyline moving forward. And listen, people were rooting for Kimmy. And all Maurice had to do was be loving, supportive, kind, and patient during her journey. That's all he had to do. And it would have been the perfect storyline. There could have been so much gained from watching the process from diagnosis to remission, and talk about a missed opportunity, right? Now, instead of them following the natural and real storyline of Kimmy's cancer journey of healing and survival, they instead chose to take the viewers on a journey of how to revive a dry, dusty libido.
Get my libido cracking. Get my libido cracking. Get my libido cracking.
And I'm sure you've probably guessed that shit didn't resonate with nobody. I'm talking about nobody. And they have the nerve to be mad at the viewers for not connecting with a storyline like that. Imagine being mad about the viewers not wanting to hear about your puss in every scene. How are you offended that we don't want to see that? In fact, many people were disgusted by that stupid ass storyline, and rightfully so. And it also didn't help that Maurice was tone deaf as fuck and took this mess even further when he publicly announced that his wife was to roll over and suffer through sex, all while making jokes and laughing at her bald head. A head that is bald due to cancer. What in the actual fuck? So, viewers started calling for their dismissal from the show. Not just the bloggers, but the viewers. And we know y'all be cloud watching YouTube commentary because Maurice, you created a YouTuber award for your favorite and least favorite content creators about a year or so ago. And Kimmy, we know that you be in those Facebook groups under your troll account allegedly because you said that people across multiple platforms, and last I checked, multiple meant more than one, wanted y'all off the show on that Carlos King podcast crossover with Bell Collective. In fact, your little rant was salty enough for Carlos King to name the podcast episode Kimmy Addresses Fans Wanting the Scotts Fired. So, yeah, there's that. And y'all, in that podcast, Kimmy was mad as hell that people wanted them off the show. She had a how dare you attitude about it. And girl, yeah, people want you, your dry box, and your husband with his arrested development ass energy off of the show. Especially if this is all y'all giving. Then yeah, you can get on with that mess. Nobody wants to see it. And in my opinion, the problem is that they believe that just because they were on the show as the original cast, they are entitled to remain on the show and just give anything. And that's just not how this shit works. It doesn't work like that on any reality show. And actually it doesn't work like that on this one. You better ask Destiny. And Carlos has also fed them that Core 6 bullshit for so long. It has gone to their heads, right? And they have programmed themselves to think that they cannot be replaced because of that. And that's why we got dry libido storyline instead of their real lives. It is of my opinion and belief that Kimmy and Maurice were given an ultimatum by the producers of the show. And that was to bring a solid storyline, or this will be their final season. And if this is true, it would help to explain the lawsuits. I feel like they are trying to create a storyline that they think people would want to see. So basically, their attempt at reviving a dry, dusty storyline. The timeline is suspect as fuck for these lawsuits. Why sue after many months have gone by and the request to remove the videos was granted when asked? Why do that? Unless your motive is to save your spot on the show. Oh, hell. Let me get tinfoil kitty out here because this is just a theory and not concrete facts. Again, just my theory. Okay? But the timeline of the suit really makes me believe that Maurice's and Kimmy's position on the show might be quite precarious at this point. So they need a solid storyline. They need it. Their backs are up against the wall. Not only are the fans side-eyeing this couple and asking for their dismissal, but the producers are also looking at them to deliver something other than a dry box for this upcoming season. And hell, we can't forget that Nell and Chris have also entered the show as permanent cast members. So whatever they are giving during filming may have also intimidated Kimmy and Maurice into launching this random attack on the content creators. Because this lawsuit has happened during filming. Also, allegedly, the filing was done improperly and quite possibly illegally, according to the online buzz. And if that's true, then perhaps it was a rush job to have something, quote, real to film. Which makes me believe that it was never the intention to actually sue the content creators in the first place. The content creators were low-hanging fruit. Because the truth of the matter is that this couple is still not willing to crack the door open on their lives. Minus their bedroom. Funny, that door is wide open. But their actual lives seems to be closed off to the public, which is also weird because they signed up to be on a reality TV show that is meant for public consumption. Look, Chris and Nell, or possibly another couple, perhaps a friend of the show, must really have 2.0 shooketh because Maurice has also allegedly been seen trolling the comment sections under some content creator YouTube videos. And listen, this is emotionally dysregulated behavior in my opinion. I don't understand how people sign up to be on reality TV and then act a complete ass, disgrace their family name, and then get upset with viewers who have opinions about said behavior. You can't say, look at me, and then get mad when people do. It makes no sense. And listen, I don't know. This is all a theory, which is why Tinfoil Kitty is here. What do you guys think? Drop down in the comments and let me know. And for the people in the cheap seats, this is all alleged and in my opinion, so don't come over here with no bullshit. Again, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, bet you know now.